The college football show on the Coach T podcast, presented by Turner Sports Training, TST. What's going on?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. Let me connect I literally just finished the NFL. Hop right on.
You got to be the busiest man in show business, man. Yeah. You do everything.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey. You know what time it is? Yeah. You know what time it is?
You are watching a master at work.
Some people are probably like, what time is it? You know what time it is.
It's showtime.
Mook, we are back again. We're back again on the Coach T College Football Show. I'm with my boy Mook, as mentioned. Mook, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I wanted to ask, how's life?
Man, I couldn't ask for more. You know, I mean, you could, but
Yeah, we all can.
I'm a happy guy.
Okay.
You know,
Good,
happy family. Love my football team.
How are they doing?
We're good. We had a tough matchup with Maryville. We tied at 20-20. We had a 20-7 lead at the half. We were looked like we were gonna run away with it, and a couple penalties and a turnover compounded, and just it turned into being a 20-20 tie. They don't have overtime, so it was a very physical game. There's a lot of fun.
And you are coaching, for the people out there?
It's a Pee Wee football team. It's just a Pee Wee division of Pop Warner.
Okay, good. Our team is actually our football team, Hobart High School. We are now 2-2. We won our last two games. We just beat up on Culver Academy. That score was 49-6. So, you know, a pretty good game for us, pretty good showing. I'm just glad that we're actually performing how we thought we could preseason. You know, it's always one thing as a coach. You have expectations and ideas of what it's going to be like. But until the players actually perform, you know, it's all speculation. It's all potential. You know, they always say potential can get you beat. So our team is actually starting to play up to their potential. We have another tough matchup this week against somewhat of a conference rival, Lowell High School. So should be a good matchup, Mook. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a good match between the Bricks and the Red Devils. They're two teams
for sure.
that respect each other and get a lot of respect. So.
Yep, classic matchup. So looking forward to that. All right, let's get right into it. Again, the college football show, the Coach T College Football Show. Let's get going. Like we always do, let's start with the best of, and this is the best of week 2 from last week. The best play for me would easily be the Jacksonville State. I guess you can call it. We're both going to agree on this. Everyone in America knows that's the top play, man. The Hail Mary that wasn't even really a Hail Mary. I think Florida State was in like a cover one look for some odd reason. I don't know, man. I don't know what the coaches were thinking, but they were in a man look. Jacksonville State clearly only had one play to go. They throw it up to his receiver down the right sideline. He catches like a back shoulder ball, cuts back against two defenders, takes it all the way to the house, and the upset happens right there. And lo and behold, what I actually found out about that game is, I guess there was a Florida State lineman that was proposing to his now fiance at the same time. So it was a lot of crazy stuff going on with that game, man. So, you know, I don't know what that's all about, but congrats to him and his now fiance. So, but that was clearly the best play of the weekend for me. I would assume you have the same thing.
Yeah, it wasn't. I kind of thought that would be yours, but because I don't know how you could not take that play. You know, it was awesome. It was one I've probably watched like 10 times now, and I'm trying to figure out the same kind of thing as like
why are they in man-to-man?
Why are they in that coverage? You know, but obviously I'm not by any stretch thinking, but that I'm smarter than anyone, you know, with that. It was just to watch it, not watching it all 22 or anything, just to see the TV coverage. It was a little puzzling to see, you know, that actually work and score. But Wow, that was awesome for Jacksonville State. You know, two heartbreakers in a row at Doak Campbell Stadium there for Bobby Bowden Field. Rough start for the Seminoles for sure.
Yeah, for sure. To me, the best game. It's kind of hard for me to pick the best game of the week. It's hard. Honestly, I got NFL on my mind. I got college football.
Yeah.
Some of these games are hard to remember, but I'll let you begin.
Yeah, I think ultimately for me, I mean, and there ended up being a couple pretty good ones. I mean, obviously that one we just called the play-in, but I mean, I gotta go with Oregon over Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think coming out to Columbus with your best player out, I gave them better than a puncher's chance, but I didn't think they would perform as well as they did, and man, they looked really, really good. And it wasn't that Ohio State didn't look good. It took to the very last moments for CJ Stroud to throw his first interception and of the year with all the times that he's thrown. So I mean, you just got to take your hats off to the Ducks in that one. Yeah,
that's the Ducks are actually going to cover a lot of bases for me. They had the best performance as a team, so that would technically be my team of last week. They have the best coaching in that matchup. It's really between a tie between them and Stanford. The way Stanford beat up on USC, and that game was honestly from start to finish, Stanford manhandled USC.
They owned them.
But they did own them. But back to the Oregon and Ohio State game. Oregon we talked about it last show. Like, Oregon has the pieces to match up with Ohio State, and they not only matched up with Ohio State, but they beat up on them as well. They manhandled the Buckeyes. I'm actually watching some highlights now of that matchup. The way they were able to run the ball, Verdell, number 7, their running back, I think that's his name, CJ Verdell.
Yeah, CJ Verdell.
He was a monster. He is definitely up for player of the week. The way he performed, the way he was running the ball, the way he just made so many plays out of the backfield, and Ohio State had no answers for him. So Oregon checked a lot of boxes for me, and it was really good to see, really fun to see, and I don't know. I'm just excited that you have those type of games, and the up and down roller coaster of college football in the season. It's already starting.
Yeah, I think that with Oregon too, one of the things that over the years, I think sometimes people kind of write them off as a finesse spread team, and I think that kind of I guess stereotype of them has changed. They're maulers. These guys flat out will brawl.
Yeah, they're not a flashy team anymore. They're a ground and pound, smash mouth team.
They come downhill, and yeah, CJ Verdell, 20 carries, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, plus 3 catches for 34 yards. But the quarterback, Brown, he threw
Anthony Brown.
Yeah, Anthony Brown. I don't have his numbers in front of me. I want to say that he was only completed like 16, 17 passes, but I know it was to 11 different receivers. So he spread that ball out all over the place. That makes it pretty difficult as a defense to when you have that many guys that can do something with a football. Mario Cristobal, great performance. He's my coach of the week as well.
Yeah, so in terms of, I think Cristobal, obviously he did a phenomenal job coaching last week. My coach of the week would be David Shaw of Stanford versus USC, the way they, really took that game from start to finish. A lot of great performances, and again, the year is getting off to a wonderful start, and I'm just excited for what the future holds in college football. Speaking of the future in college football, let's talk about this week and the games that we have, the top matchups. So our next segment, Pick the Winner. We're going to go through the top games that we're really intrigued and interested by, talk about those games quickly, pick a winner or two, maybe a reason why. Mook, sound good to you?
Sounds great.
All right, so first game we'll talk about, we either start with my team or your team. Would you rather? What would you like to begin
start
with?
With your team. I have some thoughts on my team, but
okay.
Go ahead and we'll start with your team.
All right, so with my team, the Indiana Hoosiers, what should have been a matchup of 2 top 25 teams, my team is clearly out of the top 25 after the loss to Iowa week 1. They had a great performance against the Idaho Vandals week 2, which really, to me, gives them really great momentum. I talked about this a few shows ago. This game right here for the Hoosiers versus Cincinnati at home will clearly be the telltale sign of what type of team Tom Allen has. I do think the Hoosiers play much better. They got things rolling. Again, it's against Idaho. They did what they had to do. They scored the ball when they needed to. They were able to run the ball. I don't think that Penix had to throw the ball a lot, but when he did, he was sharp. He was able to hit guys. Our defense flew around, got turnovers, made plays. That's the exact type of performance that we'll need against Cincinnati at home, because Cincinnati's a tough team, tough matchup. I actually want to bring up some of the stats on this one. Here we go. So Indiana is actually 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 games. Cincinnati is actually 12-1 straight up in the last 13 games. So both these teams have done really well in the last 12 to 13 games. I would love to be able to pick my Hoosiers. I do think they perform much better at home. Give me the Hoosiers there.
Yeah, it's one that I've looked forward to all season, that I kind of bookmarked as one of the games I was really interested in. Seeing that, the top 10 group of 5 team that wants all the recognition. Well, here's their chance to go to a Big Ten stadium and knock off a team like Indiana. Desmond Ridder and Michael Penix. This is the quarterback matchup I was looking for. Penix, I want to see him take that step forward. It's hard. He had 2 straight ACL injuries on the same knee. I mean, That's not easy to come back from. And it's really impressive that he is doing what he is doing. But he's going to have to play even better this time around. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be 2 pretty good defenses going at it. Man, if you were pressing me to make a pick right now, I would have to take the Bearcats in a ugly, tight, and not ugly. I think it'd be a really, really well played game, but 2017 type ball game.
Yeah, no, I do see it as a well fought, well played game, but not a lot of points scored. Indiana really doesn't score a lot of points, and their defenses, when they're playing well, their defense is more their calling card. Cincinnati's defense has been good for the last few years, and it's gonna be a tough matchup for my boys. Let's see how they fare there. Another game here. Now let's talk about your boys. Nebraska Cornhuskers face number 3 Oklahoma at Oklahoma. This game is 11 o'clock Central on Fox. Who do you have there?
Okay, well, let's just start with the fact that the best thing that could happen, that's 11 o'clock on Fox, because that seems to be the time frame that Oklahoma does get upset. Now, that said, I don't think that's happening this time around. But look, Nebraska's they've played against Fordham and Buffalo. Buffalo's not a pushover. They're MAC runner-up. I mean, they've got some talent. They're not awful. Nebraska 128-3. They had 3 touchdowns called back, and they missed 2 field goals. So clearly, they still have a lot of issues that they need to clean up offensively. Defensively, Nebraska is improving. They're playing much better. I don't know if they have the pass rusher that they need to kind of make Spencer Rattler uncomfortable. But I think that if they can keep it, and I think the point spread's Oklahoma 22-point favorite. I think that that's big. That's big, especially for the game of the century. Yeah, it makes total sense. But 50-year anniversary of the game of the century, 1971. The big matchup there. So the 45-38 Oklahoma is all-time versus Nebraska. So it's a long story tradition. They haven't met since 2010. But all that said, there's too much Oklahoma. There's too much talent. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not dogging Scott Frost, but right now there's too much Lincoln Riley. And I'd say from 17 to 22-ish points seems about right. So yeah, I got the Sooners, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm all over that one. Same thing as well. Oklahoma's 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games. They're also 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games at home. Spencer Rattler, as you mentioned, he's great. He's gonna do what he does. I don't know if you saw some of those throws he had last week, man. It's just a flick of the wrist and it can go 50, 60, so 70 yards. Yeah, it's crazy. And not to rag on Nebraska, to me, they don't have the talent to even keep it close here. I know the rivalry thing, you always have to factor that in, especially with 18 to 22-year-olds. I think they do fight and they fight hard, but come third, fourth quarter, late in the game, Oklahoma just have way too much. So I like Oklahoma here, like you said, by about 3 scores. That sounds about right in this matchup. All right, we have 2 Virginia teams playing. We have Virginia Tech, or number 15 Virginia Tech, versus West Virginia. This is on Fox Sports 1. Mook, how do you feel about this game?
This game is interesting. Virginia Tech is the number 15 team in the country, and I believe West Virginia's a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah,
but they're trying to tell you something.
There's nothing that stands out about West Virginia this season. They're going to play some decent defense. They don't have the wide open offense that they've had in the past. And they can run the ball a little bit. Virginia Tech isn't an offensive juggernaut either. So I think that, Vegas is always pretty good about these types of games that they kind of get you to trap some people on them. At first blush, seeing what I saw from Virginia Tech, obviously in the North Carolina game, and then, against lesser, competition last week, I would like to lean towards them, but there's something about being in Morgantown that could be problematic for the Hokies.
Yeah. Another defensive matchup here. West Virginia is 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games in Morgantown. They're actually 5-0 and 1 against the spread in their last 6 games in Morgantown. So they like playing at home. Vegas is trying to tell you something here in terms of, again, this is not a betting show, but if we're talking about picking winners and kind of how the numbers work, if the number 15 team is coming to play an unranked team is at home, and the people in Las Vegas say the unranked team is the favorite, that should tell you something.
Yeah, and very true to the point that, not a betting show. But there is some witchcraft in Vegas that knows what's going on, because I have friends that don't watch a down of college football, could tell me I'm wrong about everything that I say on here, which, as long as it's not about the Pac-12.
I'm wrong a lot, so don't worry.
but they base everything off the Vegas numbers and nothing on the actual gameplay.
Right.
And they're right a lot more than I am. So,
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, we do it with our heart. They do it with their bank accounts.
That's right.
All right, another matchup that I think will be quiet as kept, a really good game. I'm not as high on the home team here, but the away team, who is a Big Ten team, who is unranked, but I think will put up a really good fight here. Michigan State visits number 24 Miami. This will be held at the Hard Rock Stadium. Hey, did you see that clip of Miami in the last game of that cat that was hanging from the roof? The guys, and they caught it with the American flag.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, talk about symbolism and everything else. I don't even know where to go with that. But yeah, that was just another weird thing. And
weird.
Yeah, I don't really even know what this. I was actually gonna use that as a category on the fill in the blank, the weirdest thing you saw last week, and that would have been in there. But yeah, it's an interesting game though. Michigan State and Miami for sure.
Yeah, I think Michigan State will be able to run the ball here. At least I would assume that. I think that Appalachian State, they had a great chance to win that game late against Miami last week. To me, I always feel like a team that underperforms one week, I feel like they have that bounce back effect next week. So I do think Miami plays better in this matchup, but to me, Michigan State poses a great threat for Miami because they do a lot of similar things that Miami does. They want to run the ball. Maybe they don't have a phenomenal quarterback, but they have a quarterback that at least can manage the game, hopefully. They have a defense that typically likes to fly around and make plays. And as I say that, I'm watching some highlights of Michigan State. Guy makes a one-hand pick. So they both these teams, to me, this is going to be a really tight, close matchup. For some reason, I like Miami here at home. You got Michigan State coming all the way down south, probably about the furthest you can go south here. But I do think Michigan State keeps it very close. And listening back on these shows, every time I say that, I probably should flip my pick Because every time I say a team should keep it close, they end up not only keeping it close, they win. But I do think Miami seals the game here and gets the job done at home.
I agree on a lot of things you just said. I think that my way of looking at it is probably that towards the end of the game, Miami, and maybe it's the heat, Michigan State going down there into the humidity. We get starting the deep water of the third and fourth quarter. I think Miami kind of takes it over. And I'll be honest with you, another thing, I'm not real sure how good Michigan State is yet because I have to base everything up.
They haven't played anyone.
And Northwestern does not look very impressive. And they struggled with Indiana State this week. So I'm having a hard time really gauging them. I think Kenneth Walker III is a good running back. And I think having that and a line that can, make some holes for him. But I don't think this is going to be a very high-scoring game either.
I can't name another player on Michigan State's team.
No, because they're all from somewhere else.
Yeah. Bill
much.
Tucker, he is not playing around. He said, "I'm gonna get some new guys
he's
in
like,
here."
I don't like these guys. I'm gonna get a bunch of new ones, and he did. But I think that Miami's got to find out who they are, and I think that is an easy game to kind of sleepwalk through with Appalachian State. You can never count them out, But I think that they might have sleepwalked a little bit through that one. And
I agree.
And
we talked about it's hard to get up for some of those teams.
It is, and you. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it in a bit, but you hit the nail on the head with the Toledo Notre Dame pick. Same type of deal, and Toledo was ready, and Notre Dame was not. Notre Dame had to throw a bunch of things at them to mix them up a little bit enough to win that game. So, but same type of deal. I think what happened with Miami. So I like Miami in this one.
Love it. Yeah, it'll definitely be a good game, man. Hey, you hit on it. So great segue. Purdue faces Notre Dame at Notre Dame. This is a 1:30 kickoff on NBC. I'll start here. This is going to be a blowout. Notre Dame will absolutely crush the Purdue Boilermakers. Now, I do have a disdain for the Boilermakers. But to me, they just don't have the players to compete in this game. Now they've been playing well. I will say, to their credit, they have played well. And I'm talking about Purdue. But to me, Notre Dame, they did sleepwalk last week. They did squeak out that win against Toledo. To me, this is one of those games where maybe they weren't prepping for or looking forward to, but it is one of those games where I don't know if they play Purdue. I feel like they play them every year, every other year. So they're pretty much familiar with Purdue, and I think that this is one of their games where they're like, hey, this is an in-state game. Let's get up for this one instead of the Toledo matchup. So they're going to perform much better. They're back at home. And Purdue, again, they've been playing well, much better as of late. But I just don't see how they can score enough points against Notre Dame's defense. And I don't know how they can stop Notre Dame. So when you combine that, that's a recipe for a blowout.
Yeah, I think if looking at this game at the beginning of the season, I would have said the same thing. Notre Dame kind of falls in the same thing with me right now. I'm not sure how good they are. You got an 0-2 Florida State team that they took to the wire, and then while a good MAC team, Toledo gave them everything they wanted. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. On the other side, Purdue. Okay, let's not talk too much about UConn because my Pee Wee Brickies, I think, are a 3-point
they got
favorite.
a chance to beat them.
Yeah, we're a 3-point favorite in that one.
Right.
But they did play Oregon State. Now that Oregon State's a powerhouse by any stretch, they just put it in Hawaii. But I will say this: that Purdue looks much better than they did last year, and they look better than they did probably halfway through the season before Rondell Moore got hurt. They look pretty good. David Bell he's
phenomenal. He's great
receiver. They did lose their big hammer running back last week, but they in
Horvath.
Yeah, Horvath.
Yep.
But King Duro came in and ran the ball really well for him. So I do think Notre Dame's going to win this football game. But they need to step it up. Their defense has not been good. Their offensive line is beat up. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do quarterback-wise if the Purdue defense holds up at all, because bringing in the youngster oh gosh, what's his name? Well, Cone got pulled to.
He did. He popped his finger back in.
Buckner, yeah, came
Yep.
in and he ran the ball around and threw the ball and gave him a spark. So, it's gonna be interesting. But I think rather Notre Dame is the pick there.
Yeah, like that, Mook. All right, probably the matchup of the week will be number 1 Alabama facing number 11 Florida. I'm going to be glued to the TV on this one. I'll tell you that right now. Like, this will be a phenomenal game. Now, Vegas does have, let me check this right now. Vegas has Alabama as 14-point favorites. Alabama's actually 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games. I mean, all these stats are clearly going to favor Alabama. Alabama's also 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games when they play Florida. And a little nugget as well, the total has gone over 5 of the last 5 Florida games when playing Alabama. So I don't know what that, you guys take it, how you want, take it with a grain of salt. I'm going Alabama here clearly to win the game. I also think they cover that number. Florida, to me, they have the defense to potentially hang on here, but their offense, I don't know what they're really doing at quarterback. I know the number 15 kid, he comes in here and there. I think that maybe they have another guy as well. What's the kid with the dreadlocks? And I can't think of his name.
You're talking about Anthony Richardson coming into the ballgame?
Richardson comes in, but then their starting quarterback
Emory Jones.
Emory Jones, yes. Thank you. So I don't really know what they're doing there. I mean, the last couple opponents they've played, they've been able to kind of mix and match, kind of see what they got with both of those guys. I don't really care who they put in. None of these guys are going to be able to move the ball much against Alabama's defense. And Alabama, yeah, they sleptwalk against Mercer. Saban even hinted to it days before the game. He's like, these guys aren't practicing hard. Like, they feel like they don't have to focus, yada, yada. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they were looking forward to this matchup right here against Florida. Give me Alabama. Give me Nick Saban in this matchup. They cover the number, and not only cover it, man, I think they score a lot of points. I can see Alabama putting up 42 to 49 points easily. And I don't think Florida has any type of answer for that.
Yeah, no, I think that you're right on that. I don't think that the Florida Gators they're ready. They're kind of, I wouldn't say a rebuild, but there's a lot of parts of them that are in transition, it would appear, from last year. Now, my offensive coordinator, he's a diehard Gators fan, and he's every Sunday, we talk about the game, and he tells me how much better Anthony Richardson is than Emory Jones, and he doesn't understand why he's not in there. And then I started actually looking through some news in Gainesville and things like that, and everyone thinks that. Mm-hmm. So after kind of looking through some things and looking at it, I think that you're going to probably eventually, although I think they said he has a little bit of a hammy, you might see Anthony Richardson a little bit more. And maybe this is the game that, even if they get blown out, is kind of the passing of the baton to the Anthony Richardson era, the freshman. He's the first Gator since Tim Tebow in 2009 to have a 100-yard passing and rushing game, in there. And yeah, so he's in 2 games he's appeared. He's ran for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. And last week he threw for 153 and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, it seems as though, not watching a ton of Florida, that he is the spark.
Quarterback controversy, huh?
Yeah. Not
it is what it is, man.
Practice, sometimes it's different Monday through, Thursday, but
true.
But all that said, Alabama's a machine.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's one game that I'm kind of starting to look forward to, and that's the Ole Miss game with Alabama. Until then, I'm rolling with the Tide, I think. And I'm not saying I won't then, but that's the one I'm looking for. There's just so much. I don't know what you do with it. But I think that Florida's going to be all right.
Yep. Yeah, Florida's going to be all right. It's no shame if you get your butts kicked by Alabama. They're Alabama for a reason. A couple of the other ranked matchups. We won't go into depth with these games, but just to hit on them, Iowa faces at home. They play Kent State. That's number 5 Iowa. Number 6 Clemson has Georgia Tech at home. That's an ABC game at 2:30 on Saturday. Ohio State faces Tulsa at home, and you have number 2 Georgia. They play South Carolina at home. That's on ESPN at 6 o'clock. Any of those games you want to touch on, or you want to just move on there?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of
a bunch of butt kickings.
I think so. I think you got a couple angry teams that are going to take it out on some people like Tulsa.
Yep, exactly. I think, definitely Tulsa, and I also think Clemson is going to smack up on Georgia Tech after their loss, especially with coming off of I think they had a bye week 2.
Yes,
I may be wrong. Okay, yeah. So, if they had they may have had
a lesser opponent, but
they did. They had an FCS game, but that's a bye week for them. They could play their scout players, and they can beat them by 3 scores.
It's going to be bad for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I feel bad for those Yellow Jackets out there. All right, and then Stony Brook plays Oregon at home. Oregon better not have a letdown there. I know that would be catastrophic. A matchup of 2 ranked teams. This is a really good one. We have number 22 Auburn facing number 10 Penn State. 6:30 kickoff Central on ABC. What are your thoughts there? I will quickly tell you mine. I like the way Penn State, they have been moving the ball. They've been playing much better on offense. A name you fans should look out for, Mike. I think his last name is Yurcich. I don't know how to say that. Yes, the offensive coordinator for Penn State. I have loved him since he's been at Oklahoma State. He was at Texas for a year after that. Now he's at Penn State. He is phenomenal. I actually stole a couple of things from him this offseason. The way he's been able to implement his offense at Penn State with athletes. They have receiver number 5, Jawan. What's his name? Jawan Dotson, receiver there. I think it's Parker Washington. He wears number 3. He's really good. The quarterback, he's been playing better. He's one of the older guys, Sean Clifford. So, I mean, they have some pieces there. Auburn's got to travel. They got to play a foe that they don't normally play here. I really like Penn State in this matchup. It's a 6:30 kickoff. We talked about, the whiteouts and the places to play. Penn State is going to be rocking and rolling there, man. They're going to be loud and proud, repping for the Nittany Lions. I'm actually going to go with Penn State here. And looking at some of the trends, Penn State is 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games. They're also 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games. So I like Penn State in this matchup at home.
Yeah, I think that's Auburn right now has had 2 very easy ball games. They've scored 120 points in 2 games. It's something, ridiculous. And I don't think they've given up a point. Bo Nix, not a great quarterback, but I think that he's gotten a chance to get some confidence about him. The running game of Tank Bixby, I think, is going to be, pretty big for Auburn. They're used to playing in big stadiums. That's not going to be a big issue. I think it is a whiteout game. I think what you're going to find, I wasn't super impressed by the Penn State offense in the Wisconsin game, though. Credit Wisconsin with some of that, and also credit it's the first game with a new offensive coordinator. So there's a lot there. Overall, talent-wise, you're going to see tons of talent on both sides. I'm the pick is Penn State, but I think that it could be one of them games where Auburn nails a field goal to win it or something like that. But I am going to take the Nittany Lions at home. It's going to be a good one, though.
It will be
watch it, actually.
Yep. I'm really excited too. Definitely one of those key matchups there. Another matchup of a ranked team. Virginia plays at number 21 North Carolina. 6:30 kickoff on the ACC network. I'm all about the Tar Heels. I want to pull up some stats here with this game, or some trends here. With this matchup here, Virginia is 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games overall. They're also 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games overall. North Carolina, on the other hand, is 7-2 straight up in their last 9 games at home. So to me, this is iron versus iron in terms of the trends. I'm all over the Tar Heels. I love what they do. They need a bounce back win. They had a cupcake last week. And I think that really revved them up, or prepped them for this Virginia matchup. Mac Brown, this is a type of game where he's been in these type of games before. He's been in every type of game, honestly, from national titles to, they're playing conference foes like this. So I really like North Carolina to bounce back, get a win in the ACC, help their standings there. So give me the Tar Heels at home.
Bounce back is going to be huge for North Carolina. I think that they're going to get the ship right. I think Virginia is kind of a dangerous team, notwithstanding or not really having to do with the fact that they laid it on the Fighting Illini. I don't think that Illinois is very good right now, regardless if my beloved Huskers lost to them in week 1. But that said, Virginia actually looks pretty good. But I do think there's just too much Carolina. And I think they're going to show. I think, last week Sam Howell, what did he throw for 300, ran for 100 or something?
Mm-hmm. He's more mobile than people think, and they give him credit for.
He is. He can move. He can move. I think that they right the ship in this one and start moving towards, hopefully, for them.
What I picked them as a chance to win the ACC. Hopefully, they start working towards that.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean. And I don't think it's out of the question by any stretch.
No.
It's
not.
It's a long season, and Clemson has their struggles too. It's obvious. So I think that it's not going to be a sprint in this one. It's going to be a marathon. But I do like North Carolina over Virginia.
Another matchup of a ranked team, and this one, I know you're going to like this one. Tulane faces your Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss is number 17. They'll be at home. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN2. Some trends for this game here. Tulane is 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games overall. Mississippi is 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games. And they're actually 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games when playing Tulane. I don't know how often they play Tulane, but I guess they play them a decent amount over the last couple decades. So I'll let you begin here. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I think that obviously the mobility of the quarterback at Tulane, who's his name's slipping me now, I think that's a concern. But I think that Ole Miss's defense is much improved from last year. I wouldn't call it a great defense by any stretch, but it was just horrible last year. So it doesn't take a whole lot to improve. But offensively, I really like it. I like Corral throwing the football.
Yes.
I just think that they're a dangerous team. I think that they saw the Oklahoma game. They watched a lot of that, and they said, we don't want to be that team that almost Tulane. So I do like Ole Miss big, but they'll give up some points. But I think they're going to take care of business with Tulane.
The over-under on this game is 76 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was my assumption. I wanted to look. That's why I have that piece of information. There's going to be a lot of points in this game. A lot. In Ole Miss is, they're 2 touchdown favorites. I like Tulane to keep it close here. But that's easy for me to say because, the last time we saw Tulane and talked about them, they almost beat Oklahoma. I don't know if that's a facade or not, but I do like what Tulane can do on offense. I feel like they have a lot of different ways they can attack you. And Ole Miss, they have improved their defense seemingly. They played Louisville that week 1. Louisville, I don't think is going to be any good. So we don't know how much, Ole Miss is able to improve their defense. But I think this would be a really good test for Ole Miss defense and for Tulane, of course. I mean, they really have nothing to lose here. So I like Ole Miss to win it, but I like Tulane to keep it close. A matchup of 2 ranked teams again. We have Arizona State, or number 19 Arizona State, facing new number 23 BYU. This is a 9:15 kickoff on ESPN. Mook, who do you have?
Last week I would have said I had Arizona State. I don't know. The way that BYU took it to Utah was surprising to me. They played very physical. They were a team last year that kind of didn't play anybody and felt like got exposed a little bit when I believe it was Coastal Carolina that beat them, correct? If I remember correct.
Yes.
They did lose. So that was the kind of coming out party, I think, for Coastal Carolina being an actual good ball club. But BYU seems like they have a chip on their shoulder this year. Arizona State coming up into the elevation to go play there could be tricky. Arizona State's got the talent, but I don't know. The BYU seems like they're kind of not in a joking way, but they're on a mission, somewhat. And that's totally not a Mormon joke. It's just
no. Sorry,
they are on a mission in football. So
yes. Yeah, it's going to be a really good matchup. I can't call who's going to win this game. I hate even looking at the rankings because if you look at the rankings, you got number 19 playing number 23. To me, the rankings don't matter when teams are this close. 19 to 23, like that could be anyone. So you have very similar teams. Obviously, Vegas thinks it's going to be a very close game. If I had to choose, I would go with Arizona State. But like you said, I do think BYU, something about them, they lost Zach Wilson from last year, but it seems like they haven't missed a beat this year. Right. And it seems like they do have a lot to play for. And they just officially were accepted to the Big 12 to be an addition. Right. So this is a TV game where they're able to show what they have against a Pac-12 opponent, a Power 5 opponent. So I think this may be a precursor for what they're going to do or what maybe they could do. I like BYU to really compete. And, to me, it is very hard to play there. The elevation is definitely, a piece of that. To me, their fans are all about them right now. I think I was watching last game they played last week. They had one of their first sellouts last week they've had in years, which I was surprised by. You think you got Zach Wilson, number 2 pick. Like, you think it was sellout for, like, they didn't even have that. And for some odd reason, last week they sold out that game. I think it'll be another sellout, back-to-back sellouts after missing so many of them. So actually, now that I say that, I like BYU to win this game. Like, why not? They can win this. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I'll say is that the why not goes a long way with what I'm feeling about the Pac-12 right now.
And they're older. Not to do your mission joke, but they're older. They're typically more mature players, so I think they're primed and ready.
Yeah, I mean the only problem they get off a shift of work and then they go and play a game, and they. No, I'm just kidding. But I have.
Yeah, I'm sorry for
the Pac-12 is going to do, because I have shown that I have no idea about the only thing I feel good about that I've said this year so far about the Pac-12 is that I said Washington's going to win the division. That's not the part I feel good about. But Oregon's the best team. That's the part I feel good about. Yeah. I did say I think Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12, but for some reason I thought Washington was going to win the division. I don't believe that anymore. But the other part I do.
Right. Yeah, it's so Wild West out there. You never know what you're gonna get from the Pac-12. So that lends to my point even more. I don't know what I'm gonna get out of Arizona State. Like, they beat up on UNLV last week. UNLV actually had a really good first half. I was watching that game, and then Arizona State kind of blew it out from there. But you never know what you're gonna get from these West Coast teams. Specifically these Pac-12 teams. So I like BYU to win that game and really compete. Clearly, that's a matchup that both of us are really intrigued by. So I can't wait to see that game if I can stay up late enough for it. 2 more matchups. We don't have to speak in depth about these, but number 14 Iowa State plays the aforementioned UNLV. They play in Vegas. That's really tricky. 9:30 kickoff on CBS, and then Fresno State visits number 13 and I'm going to say UCLA Bruins, and that's a 9:45 kickoff on the Pac-12 network. So I think both of those are not going to be close. Fresno State would be more of the game where they can keep it close, but actually, but with a week off for UCLA with the bye week last week, I think they'll have something cooked up for Fresno State, and you know how high I am on them. So Justin Fry, Chip Kelly, get it done.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Fresno State could be a little bit tricky, but I think that what they got going right now, they're clicking, and I think that they're going to keep rolling. But again, I'm talking about a Pac-12 team, so I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah, this could easily be an upset. Like, wouldn't it be so fitting for this to be an upset? Like,
yeah, it seems about right.
It seems right. It seems right. Yeah. So those are the matchups. We picked our winners. Good job there. We're going to finish here with our power rankings, our top teams. Looking at the teams that are vying for positions there within at least my top 10. There are a couple teams that I feel like, could kind of make the leap, make the jump. My number 1 team is clearly Alabama. My number 2 team is Georgia. I actually have my number 3 team as Oregon. They're number 4 in the AP, but I have them as my number 3 team. Let's just do top 5. Let's do that. That's easy. My number 4 team is Oklahoma. My number 5 team, who I actually had as a very overrated team to start the year, but I'm going Texas A&M. Even though they don't really have the offense that I would like out of a top 5 team, they do have the defense. They do have a great player in Spiller in the backfield. They have the wherewithal to win close, tight games. So that would be my top teams in my power rankings. I go over it again. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Oregon. Number 4, Oklahoma. And number 5, Texas A&M.
Wow. Yeah, so I think I would pretty much agree with your top 4. I think number 5 is maybe the one that I would probably change to something different, just because
Clemson,
last
Iowa.
Week I'm going to say Clemson. I would say Clemson probably for me would be the number 5 team. I still think that they're probably right there in the mix by the time they get to
get going.
To that point, but that would be my top 5. I think right now you got to say Oregon after what they've the win they got over Ohio State, and everybody else is kind of held true to what they were supposed to do. We'll see. Obviously, Oklahoma had a close call, but I don't know if it'll show anything beating up on Nebraska, or if Nebraska gives them a decent game, if it'll change minds at all. I mean, I don't know, but I would say those are my top 5 with just Clemson in that last spot.
I like it. You have anyone else if you had to extend it, your top 10 that maybe is a surprise or maybe much higher than what other people would think?
The Washington Huskies. No.
No,
not them.
Please, no.
No. I would prefer we never speak of them again.
Yes.
No, you know what? Honestly, there's, I don't know that I think they're quite that caliber of a team yet, but you have to start to talk about, I guess, the Iowa Hawkeyes a little bit. Maybe not quite. My heart of hearts believes that they're going to drop a couple.
They're going to fall off at some point.
Yeah, but they're playing really good defense. I don't think
they're getting turnovers, man. That's what's been helping.
They are. Their safety. Their safety had 2 picks in the last game, and they're obviously we know the 2 pick sixes against Iowa or Indiana.
Yeah. We know.
Right. So, but no, I mean, honestly, I feel like
Cincinnati,
Alabama in the field, but we'll see Cincinnati this week. I'm really interested to see what they do against Indiana defense. If they roll them, yeah, I think you got to put them right there in the mix. If they don't, then we'll see. Maybe they're just a good top 15 team, but not quite that level. Yeah,
and that's the beauty of college football. That that's why I said the rankings really don't matter. It is Alabama in the field, because 2 through 20, like any of those teams on the right day can beat any of the other teams. So that's the beauty of it. That's why we do it. That's why we love it. Great show, man. We're going to wrap it up here. I want to make sure that I stress that if you like what we're doing, you like the show, please tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe, resubscribe, share as much as you can with our show. That would really be a great help with us. I actually learned on Apple, and it was tricky because it was giving me trouble, that even if you're a subscriber now, or you previously were to this show, if you unsubscribe and resubscribe, it actually helps, our numbers here. So with that, you can find us on Apple, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us Google Podcasts, you can find us on Stitcher, all those things. Tell a friend. We enjoy it. I love talking with Mook every week about college football. So if you like it, please share, and that would really help us. Thank you. Anything you want to add, Mook?
No, just everybody take care of each other, and just remember that there are jobs out there, especially in Southern California, if you want to be a football coach. So
what are your feelings there, quickly? Who do you think gets it? Eric Bieniemy?
Wow, that'd be a
hearing
great
that.
pick. That'd be a great pick. I think it's the who's who of the names. I don't know. Apparently, it's not Urban Meyer, although that would have been hilarious to watch.
Oh my gosh, please no.
But
Jeez.
Eric Bieniemy would be an awesome pick. I would love to see that, to be honest with you. So
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
There you have it. All right. Well, that will wrap up the show. So from us to you, this is me, Coach T. Keep listening. Keep supporting. We'll keep bringing you that funk. Peace.